Good morning, dear parents. Thank you so much for joining. I want to welcome all those that are joining in, the educators and all the well-wishers for this session. I want to thank the organizers for inviting me for this session. I'm really humbled and I am happy to share with you the knowledge I have concerning education. Our topic for today is empowering your child's future, navigating the journey of choosing the right school. It is really a heavy topic and a topic of importance that each of us here needs to understand as you are planning to make a choice for your child. My name is Kaziba Stephen, and I'm happy to take you through this session. Choosing a school for our children is more than just preparing them for exams or jobs. In Uganda, some parents have faced a dilemma on choosing where to take their children. And as such, many of the parents have ended up taking their children to schools that their children do not fit in, to schools that don't bring out the whole child, the schools whereby our children have ended up failing to achieve their dreams, schools that have ended up burying the children's talents. And therefore, today we are going to talk about how do we choose a good school for our children? What is the right school that my children must go in? Is it a school that is focusing on passing exams? Is it a school that is understanding and is ready to mold my child into a person of value? Is it a school that is going to nurture? Is it a school that is going to skill my child? And therefore, this is the journey that we are going to walk together such that we can understand what school must I take my child into. This is something very crucial. And if you understand this, then it means that you make a right choice for the school where your child is going to go in for this academic year. But most importantly, for those children that are joining Form 1. So I'm going to start with some of the misconceptions about education, some of the misbeliefs regarding education. So I have noticed with concern that many of the parents do not understand what we call education. And according to their interpretation, they've interpreted education in the different ways. Some think that education is defined by the impressive school buildings. Many parents only look at the buildings, the fancy buildings, they look at the sturdy buildings, and they think that is education. Truly, that is not the true education. Buildings do not define what takes place within that environment. Buildings alone do not determine what education is. Many have equated education to the high passing rates. Many people think that when the school has a high passing rate, then it offers quality education. We have seen many parents running to those schools to enroll their children because the school passed highly in the national exams. Those exams do not define true quality education. I've also noticed that some parents take children to schools because that the timetable is really packed. They have a lot of periods. They study a lot. They spend a lot of time in class. Truly, that is not what we call education. It is more than that. Spending a lot of time in class doesn't define that your child is educated or that your child has received education. Also, I've noticed that parents are looking at education as the large amount of copywork. Like when you look at your child's book and you notice that there is a lot of work in the book, you think your child is receiving the best education. I've noticed that also the admissions or the enrollment status also determines education to many of the parents. Many parents think that when the schools have enrolled big numbers, schools have called on children with only 4 aggregates at their PLE, they think that is the best school that will offer the best education. But education is more than that. Grades alone do not indicate a comprehensive education experience. We have seen many parents who are really demanding a lot from their children. They have high expectation. They think that these grades are the ones that determine the true education for their children. But it is more than that. I've also seen many parents are still being blinded, looking at the traditions, of which many of these traditions have gone on evolving. You find a parent sticking to a certain school that I want my child to go through this school. This is a traditional school. It has norms, it has values. Many of those things have gone on changing over and over. Things have changed. The world has evolved, and therefore we need to find out what is the true education we are looking for our children. Many of them are also still looking at those traditional schools, thinking that those schools still hold a significance. Many of you, those who have been able to interact with some of those so-called traditional schools, the schools that have stayed for over and over years, many of the practices taking place in those schools no longer define the true education. When you visit many of those schools, some of those schools have really changed because of the change in the administration, because of the change for everything. So things have totally changed. And therefore, we need to find out what is the true education. More of these ones are many parents still think that expensive private or government schools always provide the best education. That many think that when you pay more money, that is a better school. I've seen parents struggling to pay high fees, thinking that that's where the child will receive the best education. Please and please, it is not true at all. When the school is expensive, it doesn't necessarily mean that that school offers the best education. It is more than that. You need to go and dig deep. What is within that school? Why is the school paying all that money? What is that hidden thing that other schools do not offer that this school offers? So these are some of the questions. These are some of the misconceptions that many parents are taking in, thinking that they are right beliefs, that true education means this. It is more than that. Many have also noticed that when someone looks at the learning environment, looks at the structure, thinks that one is a guarantee that someone will receive academic success, or what we call the true educations. Many of these things are what many of the parents are looking at as what we call education. But education is more than this. Even when it comes to the university level, you have noticed very many parents taking their children that I want my child to go to Makerere, I want my child to go to Chambogo. But that is not the only institution that will offer the best education for a child. First, look out for what does my child want? What does my child be capable of doing? And therefore, that one will help you to know where you are going to take your child to receive the best education. I've seen there are some private institutes or universities that have good education, where your child can benefit more than when it goes into all those so-called high-profile university. But I've also seen parents who are over-demanding homework for their children during the holidays, thinking that that homework would provide better academic performance, better education. Kindly take note that it is not true also. So there is a lot that many of the parents think that is what we call true education. But true education is more than that. Many of these misconceptions you take in, they tend to mislead you on choosing what the right school for your child is. And therefore, it is this session that's going to be an eye-opener for you to know what is education and which school is the right choice for my child. So these are some of the misconceptions that have come up with, that have come across, that many parents keep on equating to what we call the right education. And therefore, what is education? When we talk about education, education is not simply going to school or university and coming up with a degree. Education is more than that. Education is more than passing examinations. Many parents are looking at education as passing exams. My child has to get a distinction. My child has to get a 4. And you really wonder whether that is really the education. Education is more than that. And education is one of the biggest secrets that some of the parents can use to have their child acquire the best mental knowledge, the mental skills, the attitudes. Once you understand what education is, then you're going to make the right choice for your child. And therefore, when we talk about education, we're looking at that process of acquiring the knowledge. You acquire the knowledge. And when we talk about knowledge, let me use an example of what we call knowledge. Take an example is that many of our students or many of our children now, they know a lot about soccer. They know a lot about those sports activities. They can name for you the players, they can name for you the country, they can name for you the number the players playing the pitch and the rest of that. That one implies that these children have the knowledge. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that these children are educated. For them to qualify to be educated, it means that they must be in position to apply the knowledge to advance oneself. They must be in position to apply that knowledge they have to come up with a solution to a problem. They must be in position to use that knowledge they have about all those people to come up and make money. So that's when you say that someone is now educated. But as long as you cannot use the knowledge you have acquired, the attitudes, the physical skills to solve a problem and bring about a personal or national development, then you are not educated. So for you to be educated, you must be in position. Your child must be in position to use that knowledge, to use the skills attained from the school to come up with a solution, to come up with a solution to the problem. And through that problem that the child has been able to solve, it can now help the child to earn a living from what he or she has been able to solve. So that's what we call now education. Therefore, as you are looking for the school where to take your child, look at that thing. Look at, will my child be able to attain the knowledge? What about the attitudes? What about the physical skills? Then if all those things are yes, then it means that that school qualifies to be called a good school for your child. Therefore, education means that you are preparing the child to face day-to-day life. Many of the schools have not yet integrated this into their day-to-day activities. You find schools that are busy concentrating at one component of education, yet education is much bigger than just one component. And therefore, as a parent, is your child being prepared to face day-to-day life? When your child has, for those that their children have finished P7, can your child be able to face the world we are in now? If they cannot be able to face the world, then it means that your child has not attained education. There is a lot that is still missing. If a child has spent 7 years in climate and he cannot face the day-to-day activity, he cannot face the world, then it means that he has not attained complete education. There is something still missing, and you have to question the school where your child went through. God forbid, if you leave this world, if God calls you, do you think your child will be able to face this world? If the answer is no, then it means that your child was taken to a wrong school that did not support him to use, attain, and be able to think critically for the future. Therefore, what does education involve? Education involves the development of the three parts. And these parts are what now determine who is educated and who is not yet fully educated. One of the parts is, these are the three parts. One is the head. And when you talk about the head is that part that deals with the knowledge and the intellectual skills. So it is the head, the brain. So this one is responsible for cramming of events, names, things that happened. And it is that part of the education that is supposed to answer the why such events happen. And therefore, this is one of the most important parts. And therefore, for the child to be able to retain information, it means that this person will use the head. For the person to be able to remember and use the information, still it goes back to the head. The person to be able to explain why some things happen the way they are, it is the head. So if your child is in position to do all those things, your child can remember, can retain information, can be able to reason, to analyze information, to calculate addition, subtraction, is able to think and generate ideas, is using the part of the part we call the head. And therefore, it means that this child has the knowledge and has the intellectual skills. Therefore, many of the schools we have in the country, it is the only part of the body that they are working on. Many schools are focusing on exams. They are focusing on the children passing the exams highly, but they do not focus on other parts. Therefore, your children have big heads with a lot of knowledge, but they lack true or what we call complete education. And therefore, the second part is what we call the heart. The heart will deal with the emotions, will deal with the attitudes, will deal with the passions. That is what we call the heart. Just like we are born, all our feelings will depend on the heart. Many of the schools we have in the country, they do not cater for a child's heart. They do not cater for someone's feeling, but always they are looking at things only to cater for the head. That's why at the moment, you find very many of our children very stressed, having a lot of mental issues because their emotions are not being catered for. A good school will always cater for your child's emotion. They will always cater for the mental well-being of your child. And if that part is not catered for, then it means that your child will not have attained the complete education. And under the heart, some of the signs you notice that your child has attained, it will be exhibited in the way she expresses her love towards you and towards other people, the faith she shows, the hope, the enthusiasm. That is what now shows the joy. So all those things are able to show you that now the child's heart is being worked on. So that's what now we are calling the true education. All those things must be exhibited. You look at now when you're looking at the curiosity. So that one shows that the attitudes are being worked on. You look at the kind of determination your child is showing. It means that the heart is being worked on. The patience, the respect for the work, the humanitarianism. Then it means that your child's heart is being touched. So those are the people you find now. Take an example. You find someone, let me use the doctors. You find a doctor who has all the knowledge, but because the heart was not worked on, is someone who will leave a patient dying and tells the patient, because you have not yet paid the money, I cannot touch you. So that person has the knowledge, but the heart was not worked on. That is a child you find in school. He finds something, or at home. If the child comes back, he does not greet you. He just goes. It means that the heart was not worked on well. He does not respect the elders. Then the last part is what we call the hands. The hands involve the physical touch. It involves the performance. It involves the skill that this child can be able to exhibit. When your child returns from school, do you notice some of these things? Can your child do something using the hands? Now, if your child can't do anything using the hands, it cannot show any skill he has attained from the school, then it is really very bad. But it is a sign you have wasted your money. It is a sign that the school fees you paid have not gotten any value attached to it. Therefore, when we are looking at the physical fitness, the performance, the hands, we are going to ask ourselves, can my child exhibit any skill? Be it in the cooking, be it in the cleaning, washing, jumping, swimming, using of machines, driving. Was my child's talent being developed? So that is what now we call the hands, that the hands are now working. If that one is being attained, then it means that your child is attaining the best education. It means that now your child has the best education. And therefore, when we are developing a human being, all those three things must be catered for. So the formation of those ideas, the emotions, the attitudes, and the physical performance must be catered for. Otherwise, once you find out that your child has not attained those three things from the school where he or she has been, then it means that the child has not received complete education. A child who has only passed senior 4 and this child doesn't have the feelings for others, this child cannot use the hands to do anything, then the child is really lame and he cannot do a lot. So that is not what we call complete education. But a child who has been able to excel academically, who has the feelings for the others, who has the right attitude towards something, who can perform, who can use the hands, who can exhibit more skill, then that child is the one who attains education. And therefore, as you are searching for the school to take your child into, then look out for whether all these three things are going to be catered for by the school where you want to take your child. But in case any of the two are missing, then it means that it is not the right school for your child. Let's leave these things of looking at only academic performance. There is life beyond academic performance. Don't just look at the school and say, this school is performing well in national exams. Then ask yourself, what about other parts of the body? Are they being catered for? We have noticed and we have seen very many children who have excelled academically, but once they reach the field, they have the knowledge, but they cannot use the knowledge. They cannot use their hands to do something. These are people you find who cannot think, who can think, but they cannot act. That is being useless. It means you have not attained the complete education. And therefore, what are the indicators that the school offers that true education? As you are looking for that school, what are the things that you are going to look out for in that particular school where you are taking your child? Such that those are the indicators that are going to show you that this school will have what I want for my child. The first one, I've divided these things still into the three things. That when you go to any school that you want your child to go to, then first look out for the following. One, we are going to look at the head. What determines that this school will cater for the knowledge aspect of my child's life? One, look at the curriculum that this school is offering. When we talk about the diverse and engaging curriculum, we are looking for many things. At the moment, the Ministry of Education has been able to introduce the competence-based curriculum. Now here is what you are going to look out for. Ask them, which curriculum are you offering? Ask them to explain for you what is contained within that particular curriculum that the school is offering. 2, look at the class seating arrangement. Move around your school, that school where you want to take your child. Look at how is the classroom arranged. Because in the new curriculum or in the new curriculum that schools are offering in Uganda, we are looking at how do learners sit. Would this child be able to collaborate and to work with others? 3, look at the number of children per class. Ask them, how many children do sit per class? Are they 40? Are they 50? Are they 100? Because the number of children in class determines how your child is going to learn, the amount, the knowledge he or she will be able to attain. Then look at the class size versus the student-teacher ratio. Ask them, ask those schools, how is the class size? How many teachers attend to the child? Because many of these children or your child may need a 1-to-1, 2-to-1 with the teacher. But if the classes are very big, will your child get time to consult from the teacher such that he or she attains the knowledge and the intellectual skills? Go on and ask them the kind of teachers that these people are employing. Are they qualified? Are they experienced? We have seen schools that use senior 4 vacists. We have seen schools that use senior 6 vacists. Will these people be able to teach your child very well? All these questions must be asked. Do not just take your child to school minus you finding out all the different aspects, because later on, you may regret when it is too late. What other things do we look at? We are looking at the integration of technology in learning. When you look at around the school, ask them, where is your computer laboratory? Some schools may not have a computer laboratory, but they may have a system where they allow their children to call on laptops. Ask them, how are you facilitating the ICT? Ask the school, the internet. Does the school have the internet? And for these ones, keep on checking. I want to look at this. I want to look at this. Otherwise, the schools now without internet, it means that your learner will only depend on what the teacher gives him. If at all he doesn't have the chance to go to the library to research and to read more books, means that he will depend solely on what the teacher has given him. But that one is not enough. Remember, you need to be a lifelong learner. Not necessarily everything that the teacher will tell you is right, but you need also to have the child search more using the internet. Ask whether they have a library, an e-library, where students can access other books that may not be available within the school premises. Ask them their website. Schools now have websites where they keep on communicating. Go through it, read through all the different pages, go through their blogs and ask yourself whether there is any kind of information that is being posted on those different platforms. By doing so, you are equipping yourself with the knowledge about the school, but also you are finding out more on what is within the school that may help to make a right decision. Look at the kind of communication. Do the schools have the school emails? Do they have the phones? All these ones are indicators that now you are looking at the education of your child in details. Does it provide an opportunity for other extracurricular activities? So these are some of the things that you need to engage in whenever you go in for the schools. Ask as many questions as you can. Ask them, what activities do they carry out after class? Is it sports? Is it agriculture? Is it tailoring? Which activity will engage my child into something? Or do they spend the whole day in class? They wake up at 4 a.m. and the children sleep at 10 p.m. or at 11 p.m. That's not healthy at all for your child's education. So these are some of the things that we need to look out for whenever we are visiting those schools. As you are looking for the component that is going to be developing your child's knowledge. Otherwise, if all these things are lacking within the square you're taking your child, then never risk for you to take your child, because you are going to cause a danger that will be long, or that will not be possible for you to withdraw from. The second component is what we call the heart, or what we call the emotions and the attitudes. What do you look out for when you go to the school? I want you to look at the social emotion learning programs that the school offers. Ask them, look at the values, ask them the programs. Do they have counseling services for the emotional well-being of the students? Ask them, when does the counselor come to the school? By doing so, you are now trying to find out whether my child is hurt or my child's feeling will be dealt with in a good way. Look at the inclusive and the diverse environment. If your child is a special need child, ask them, how are you going to cater for this child? And now you should expect answers that maybe we shall be providing extra classes, we shall be offering this and the other, such that you know whether your child will actually be included or whether your child really fits into the system. Otherwise, you may be there when your child cannot fit into the system just because they want money, and then you end up failing. Look at the life skills programs that these people have. For any school that wants to offer a complete education, life skills is so important. There are some things that these children cannot learn from class, but they can learn them from other people who have either gone through the same thing or that have gone through different experiences. Things such as communication, things such as integration. There are some things, care for the community, such things, they must be taught to these children through showing them the right actions. Remember, what the mark says is what the mark does. So, mark do, mark does. So, we need to look out for such components that are going to help and develop our children. Look at the mental health talks. Ask them for their programs. When do they get time to talk to the children about mental health issues? These children are going through a lot. They are going through a lot. They are bleeding. But will the school be able, or this child will always come back? Mommy, daddy, you know what? I'm not okay. Will they always be calling you, or it is the school to first cover the gap before they involve you? So these are the things you're going to look at and say that now this school will be catering for my child's heart. It may not necessarily be all these ones, but at least one of them must appear in the school's program. Then the last one is what we call the hands, or what we call the physical fitness. So under the physical fitness, we are going to look at the different things that can be within the school and promote the development of this kind of domain. One of them are the sports programs. Ask the school, which programs do you offer for the children? Then the school can be able to explain that we have football, we have basketball, we have this and this and the other. We have running, swimming, and the rest. So schools without such programs keep asking you, so what do they do to our children? And please do not stop at just asking. You must be able to see them. Many of the parents, because they don't have time, once the school tells them that we have this, they just walk away without seeing the evidence. Let them show you the evidence to know that now everything is okay. How are they promoting the health of your child? Do they have a sick bay around that will take care of your child in case the child falls sick? Do they have medical insurances for the children? What do they have? Look at the sports facilities. Go visit the basketball, visit the football pitch, visit the swimming pool, and the rest of that, such that you can be able to see them. Otherwise, when you don't see them, then which person would you think you blame at the end of the day if your child doesn't attain those skills? So a lot must be looked at when you're looking for whether your child's skills are going to be developed. These skills are many things that require using the hands. It can even be some schools are putting up cooking programs, baking programs, what you call the DIT activity. Ask them, do you have any DIT activity, an employable skill that my child can learn from this school? Is it football? Could it be computer? Could it be cooking? Could it be baking, tailoring? Could it be maybe designing? So all those are skills that require using the hand. But will the school manage? Will the school be in position to provide all those to the children? If now you notice that the school doesn't provide any, then why do you waste your time taking your child to that particular school? Therefore, there is a lot that we need to look out for as we are looking for the best schools for our children. Now, this is a question to you, parents. Do you really understand your child? Because before you make the selection for the school to take your child, you need to ask yourself, do I understand my child? Because that one is very important for you. Once you understand, because now we know what must be contained in those schools to cater for all the domains. But now you ask, do I understand my child? What does my child love? Maybe my child loves soccer. My child is passionate about swimming. Now you ask, does this school have a swimming pool? That yes. That is one component. Will that component be catered for? How are the values for these schools that I'm choosing? Then after that, you ask yourself, how have they been performing in the previous years? How are the academic standards? Then that means that you are able to use now your three domains to answer the question. Know your child's strength and potential, because this one places you in the right position where you can take your child. Know the career path. What does the child want to be in the future? You find that this child is interested in being a sports person. Then, which school really qualifies? Which school has those facilities that will develop your child? Is it a school without a pitch or no? So the right choice for the school will always matter depending on how you are understanding your child. Otherwise, if you don't understand your child, then it means that you can never choose for this person the right school for him or her to go to. Look at the interests of this child, and therefore you can be able to tell which school I can take my child to such that he can attain complete education. There are very many other things as a parent you may look at and then determine whether you really understand your child. Otherwise, if you don't understand your child, it is going to give you headache for you to look out for the right choice of the school that fits your child. Okay, then we have what we call common pitfalls when parents are selecting schools to take their children to. They are very common mistakes. I've been interacting with quite a number of parents, teachers, and other educators, but many of them keep on making mistakes, keep on making errors when choosing a school where to take their children to. So these are common, but they are incorrect. So we need to find out, what do we need? What are some of those common mistakes? And these are some of the mistakes many of the parents that are regretting why they took their children to certain schools. I've been having parents who have been telling me, I regret, I wish I knew. I wouldn't have brought my child here. But did this person understand the child before? Did this person go on to search more about the school, or is just complaining? And therefore, we have some of those pitfalls that we need to look out for. Those mistakes that many parents have kept on doing, and at the end, it has costed them heavily. I've seen parents who have taken children to schools and they have ended up regretting and wasting their resources. One, many parents are busy looking at the storage buildings. the infrastructures. And I think that is what we call a good school for their child. Please, dear parents, never look at the buildings, never look at the infrastructures, the colors, and you think that is the best school your child should go to. Many of the buildings, many of those beautiful things do not reflect what takes place underground. It's like when you look at the beautiful girls, handsome men, and the rest of that, you may find this child very, very beautiful. But when you look at the inside, you find this child is very sick, God forbid, with HIV. So the outside beauty doesn't determine what takes place within the school itself. So never come up with a selection looking at only the buildings and think that's what makes it a good school. Two, the school buses. I've seen parents telling me why I'm taking my child because the school has a good bus. So I want my child to sit into the bus. Really? Does that define what a good school is for your child? Are you making the right choice for your child? Others have only looked at the uniform. The school has a beautiful uniform. I want my child also to wear the same. I want my child to go through that school. But a uniform alone is just a badge. It doesn't define whether a school is good or bad. It is until when you are within the system that you will come to know some of the loopholes that have really affected the child's life if you do not make the right choice. Some parents have this tendency of saying that because this school allows children to have hair, many of their mothers, they don't want their children to have their hair cut. And they have ended up taking their children to those schools. 2 years down the road, the child is misbehaving, and the same parent is being called at school to answer. Why? Because the parent did not have the right reason as to why he or she is bringing the child to that particular school. Others get influenced from the neighbors. I've seen very many parents, because my neighbor's child is in that school, I must also take my child. Do you know why your neighbor took the child there? So these are some of the things that keep on taking people to wrong schools, yet they would have done much better if they knew where exactly to take their child to attain education. I've also noticed that some of you relate things to what you call religious affiliation. That I'm a Catholic, I must only go to Catholics. I am a Protestant, I must only go for a Protestant school. But does that school have the key things you need from your child? Therefore, we need to think twice. We need to think twice. I've seen also some who tell me that because the school eats well, they eat meat, they eat chicken, I want my child to go through that kind of life of not suffering, of eating very well. Eating well doesn't put money on the table. If you keep on eating well, but you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the skills, and your feelings are damaged, then it means you have not attained education. There are things that we take to look at, but yet do not define what a school is, what the school or what the right choice of the school could look like. Many are looking at the visitation policies. Many are saying, because this school, I can be able to visit my child anytime I want, anytime I can drop in something. Really? Have a genuine reason why you want your child to be in that school. Otherwise, looking at you visiting the child anytime, anyhow, then it really keeps our hopes a bit low whether you went through the right system. Others are saying, because the school doesn't offer punishments at all. Right, the school will not offer the punishment, but remember, the world outside is waiting to cane your child if he or she does not maintain a discipline. So we are looking at what do you look out for? Are you looking for values? Are you looking for humility? What is it that you are looking for from that particular school you want your child to attend? Then we have also seen parents who keep on telling us, the school is near my home, it's near my workplace, I can easily drop in and do what? Really? The school may be near you, but does it reflect your child's kind of life? If no, then look for something that fits your child. I also have seen people who keep on telling me, because the school pays little money, so I have no money to waste. You find this person, what does he do? The person has a lot of money, but he does not want to invest into a good school for the child. The child may find he's very much interested in maybe soccer, but the school only promotes baking. And at the end of the day, the child may not be in position to attain all what you wanted him or her to achieve in the school. Others keep telling me, because I want my child to associate with the rich kids. Oh, my dear. Those people can be found as long as God has a plan for your child at any time. Those people will be found. Others, there's one parent who one time was shared and told me, for me, I brought my child here because I want him to get married to rich men. Because I want my child to associate with the rich people, to get a rich boyfriend and the rest. It's really very disheartening that we have parents who have such hearts, such attitudes, that because you want your child to do this and the other, then I must go to that particular school where you think it is for the rich people. Others keep telling me, because the school does not stress, there's no stress at school. The school is free. They give little work. They do this and the other. Kindly know that for what you are doing now will always come back to you in an unexpected way. Let the child have that kind of rough life, but when he or she is learning something, okay. So those are some of the few things that I picked out that at times tempts parents to take children to particular schools. And therefore, our key thing is, what do you need to consider? How do we choose the right choice? What questions should you always ask yourself as you are looking for the right choice for your child? The first one, does the school's mission and values align with what I'm teaching at home? We have seen parents who are very strict at home, uh, who have gone on to have values for their children, but when they come to school, you find the child is spoiled completely. At home, the child behaves well, he has a lot of good programs. He comes to school, everything is lost. And therefore, it's so disheartening that the school and the home, both of them are learning centers. And we shall always expect that someone uh, who really wishes something good for your child, then the school must align very well with what you have as your core values at your home. Then we shall also look at the curriculum approach in sync with the values and principles. And then ask yourself, will I have opportunities to collaborate with the school in shaping my child's education? Many parents do not look at the kind of communication you can have with your teachers at school. That kind of collaboration forms the bond. So you need to ask yourself a lot of questions before you take on the right school. How does the school encourage and facilitate communication between the parents and educators? These are the things you must ask yourself when you are looking for the right school for your child. Does the school involve the community? These children come from communities, and even after study, they go back to communities. So you keep asking yourself, do they have that kind of mutual connection that probably I'll be led to the right direction with the community? So these are some of the things, these are some of the questions that as a parent, you need to keep asking yourself before you make the right choice, before you look out for. Make sure you ask yourself all these questions. Look out for the trend. How have the past students passed? How have the past students, old boys and girls of that particular school, how are they featuring in the world? How do they behave? So all those answers must come back to you and ask yourself whether really this is the right choice for my child. Then the other important thing is the school fees. This is also very important. I've seen very many parents struggling to raise fees. The school is paying highly. You do not have the fees. So unfortunate. Make sure, please, and please take your child to the school where you think you will manage, you will be able to manage to raise the funds required for the different activities and required for the fees. Why should you keep on paying? Why should you keep on having debts just for school fees? Yet you can look out for the cheaper opportunities we have at hand. Please and please do not only look at one component, but look at all other components. Look at all other components such that we can bring out a good child who will be admired by everyone in this world. Please take your children to the schools you can afford. Do not go on to force things to happen. Some things may take long to happen, but okay. So these are some of the things that have been able to capture, but like you can notice that many of these ones, the key questions have to come back to you, that after finding out that this school has all the three components, then how will I manage to raise the funds? How much do I pay? How much will I need to prepare myself to attend to this school? What is the status of the school? So kindly, as we think on what school we need to take our child to, then please make sure you take on those considerations. Look out for all these questions. Keep asking yourself. In case you find that your yes is okay, then feel free to continue to take your child into that direction. I want to thank you for listening, and now allow me to welcome any questions you may be having regarding this kind of presentation. Thank you. I submit